So for the past year, I've been hard at work writing this, which is the 4th edition of the best-selling Responsive Web Design with HTML5 and CSS. I'm proud to tell you that it's now available at Amazon, Pact, and all other good bookshops. If you've not read a previous edition of this book, you should know that it doesn't just cover the essentials of responsive web design, how to use responsive web design in general. It very quickly then goes on to talk about all the latest CSS, HTML, platform features, the sort of stuff that's going to help you day to day actually building responsive web designs for real. Now, there are some big new topics in this version, this edition of the book. There's cascade layers, which if you've never used cascade layers before, it's a new way that lets you organize, architect your CSS. So if you have problems with frameworks and such, having to overwrite styles that have come from elsewhere, understanding cascade layers is going to let you control that sort of problem. There's also a whole chapter dedicated to CSS color, which was something that was a few paragraphs before in a previous chapter, but now it's got its whole new chapter to deal with things like display P3, which is the sort of stuff that's supported in WebKit currently. Lets you put things on the page, colors on the page that you simply won't have seen before in a browser. It also then goes on to talk about things like color mix and color contrast, which lets you make sure that you're putting accessible colors into your websites. People have been crying out for container queries forever. They're now shipping in browsers. We cover that in the book, where you can use them, what the limits of them are, and what the practical use cases for using container queries are. That's the sort of thing that lets you not just media queries for the whole page, but lets you actually control what a component, for example, does within its containing element. For the longest time, we've all, as web developers, hoped and prayed that there would be some native way of creating modals, pop-up dialogues and such. Thankfully, there now is. The dialogue element, we cover it in here, how to create accessible dialogue elements with very little effort, minimal amount of JavaScript, all in here. We've got new selectors to think about, not just ones that you may have heard of like is and where, but we've got really powerful new selectors like has, which let you select elements based on what's going on inside a container. And then we've also got powerful CSS functions like clamp, min, and max. And again, we go over all that stuff in here. There's also a large section on new responsive image formats like AVIF and WebP. That's covered in here. Not just how to get them on the page, but how to make sure you're providing a good fallback for any older browsers that don't understand those formats. And there's lots of other stuff in here. CSS nesting, CSS grid, subgrid, loads more. So in short, there's heaps of new stuff in here. If you've not already been to the website, go and check out rwd.education. That'll give you a full rundown of all the chapter listings and what's going on in there. As importantly as ever, I've tried to make this as accessible as possible so it works for as many users as possible, whether you are just getting to grips with HTML and CSS, you want to take things to the next level and understand the breadth and scope of what's possible, but by the same token, hopefully a reference guide to more experienced developers who want to keep on top of all the latest platform features. If you do want to learn more, and I hope you do, go and check out the website at rwd.education. This time around, we've even got a Discord server set up, so if you need help as you're progressing through the chapters, anything not clear and you want to ask the question, you can hop into the Discord server, put a post on there, and either myself or one of the other readers will hopefully jump to your aid. So again, to Amazon, Pact, all good bookstores. Find out more rwd.education. I hope you love it.